Hello everyone. It's heartening to see such a large gathering of retailers. The COVID blues are clearly behind us. And we take this opportunity to thank Images Group for setting this up at such a grand scale, at a grand setup. I would like to start off with the fact that PwC Strategy and we continue to work with a lot of retail clients across the globe. And it's not long ago, around 4 or 5 years ago, when we used to chase retailers to talk about digital, to talk about online, and with little no success. The tables have really turned now, and it's now most of the queries that we get now is about how do we improve our sales, how do we get our marketing engine set up, and that's really heartening to see the entire shift that's happening. Even the last 3 sessions that we had, almost 2 of them about talking about omni-channel, Phygital, talking about the D2C brands scaling up. So that's really the paradigm shift that we are really seeing in the market. And the Phygital report for 2023 is essentially our effort to really decouple or in terms of what it really takes for brands to build out, to understand and build out their core capabilities to do well in the digital space. With me, I have Harsh. He's the tech whiz kid who's been enabling all the retailers to do this. Harsh.
Thanks, Kushal. I don't think I can call it as a kid anymore, but thank you so much to the Images Group for helping us get this initiative off the ground. We've been working with retailers for the last 10 years in building and developing and deploying omni-channel initiatives for brands. We work with close to about 500 brands. About 40% of India's fashion lifestyle brands work on Fynd's platform to power their stores, to connect to their online channels and other stores as well. This report is the first of its kind where we're not only looking at just surveys done by brands, but giving you on-ground data of actually what's happening in the store, in the hands of the store associates, in the hands of the warehouse associates, and what is actually happening physically on the ground. So we've come together with Strategy and as well as Images Group to bring to you the India Phygital Index 2023.
So without further ado, let's dive straight in to the India Phygital Index 2023 and what is it all about. As I mentioned earlier, what we really wanted to do, in fact, in this session also we discussed, we really wanted to take you through a walkthrough of the report, but I've been told that we are running a bit constrained on time. So I'll do my best to really pick and choose the most important pieces of the report. The report is available on the counter. It's available at your tables through a QR code to scan and download. Please do that. Be happy to sort of feel free to reach out to me, Harsh, and our team to sort of get details of the same. Moving through, we're trying to essentially answer these 4 questions. First, how will e-commerce penetration evolve across categories, across mediums, marketplaces versus D2C websites? Where is consumer coming and engaging? Second, we've looked at how online and offline shopping journeys are really converging. Customer has evolved, has changed. They need a seamless touch points between all shopping venues, all experience centers, and how retailers need to therefore adapt in terms of what shoppers are doing. Second, we really wanted to focus on what retailers and people like you can really do, and what is right now more of an imperative for you to chart out your own path. And finally, the secret sauce of winning in omni-channel. Let me move forward. We all know India retail is booming right now. We clearly see double digits growth. We have covered almost 85% of the retail categories, the most important ones, specifically fashion apparel, home decor, food, beverage, as well as electronics and appliances. There are some like pharmacy, etc. we've taken out, but we definitely have very similar insights coming from that as well. One important thing that we really want to look at is there is an increasing affluence in the Indian customer. The GDP per capita has increased by almost 26%. Even COVID has not really dented that. What we're really seeing is that the top quartile of spenders, even online, offline, they are going to exponentially break out and literally go around 4x of growth, which is going to have a severe impact on the spending that's going to happen. The result of this affluence is not just going to be seen online, offline, but across multiple areas and categories. One of the areas that, of course, people are already seeing is the number of luxury brands globally that are coming into India. But what we're really seeing is, apart from just the luxury spending, this is the time for brands to be built in India, and a lot of homegrown brands to be built in India, because we are literally looking at a retail industry which is still almost 75 to 80% driven by the unorganized sector. And with literally the rails of UPI, payment, infrastructure being available and ONDC now coming in, we would want to make sure that this really builds up. Some of the drivers that are really happening is, till now brands were built out with marketing and distribution at scale. And digital has essentially disrupted both of those competitive modes. We clearly see the consumer mindset shifting, the scale at which marketplaces have enabled brands to reach out to almost 30,000 pin codes within a day or 2 days' time is an incredible capability at the hands of each and every retailer. At the same time, the brand discovery is now happening across social media. People are not just discovering, but engaging and trusting brands that they're discovering online. That has been another game-changing compared to the erstwhile traditional way of doing ATL, BTL, and literally putting yourself out there, spending a lot of money to get some customer that you could have acquired. Let me skip. A lot of the categories are fundamentally working differently. If we really look at it, electronics appliances are already there. Fashion apparel and home decor are slightly below, but is catching up. Yeah. Sorry, let me skip. Sorry, I've skipped too much. Yeah, sorry. So what we're really seeing, marketplace continues to be the driveway of growth for digital commerce. Almost 80 to 90% of digital commerce currently is happening in marketplaces. And in our report, through the survey that we've conducted, almost ensuring reach as well as the customer acquisition has clearly come at the top 2 reasons why people look up to marketplaces and want to enlist there. Profitability is a goal that really comes out that they want to achieve through marketplaces. And liquidation at 32% clearly is sort of, I would say, underreported, where currently a lot of retailers continue to leverage marketplaces as a way to liquidate old stuff. And a lot of that really needs to be changing and is changing, given how brands are now communicating themselves better, both on marketplaces and trying to shift that traffic out onto their own website. Yeah. So let me actually skip and get to the second of how the journeys are really converging. If you look at it, the customer evolution has taken in a way where the touch points have seamlessly integrated themselves. Shoppers today are actually discovering new brands online. They are engaging with them, understanding them, going to marketplaces, reading about them, doing a price comparison, and then actually going to offline and buying them, or probably getting them delivered at home. On the other hand, they're discovering even in shops, but going to online for more information, going back home and actually ordering that at home. This interoperability that customer has already switched on to is actually missing with most of our retailers. And that is the fundamental shift that we clearly see needs to happen for the retailer to build out the capabilities, both the D2C guys as well as the traditional retailers who really need to jump onto the bandwagon. We clearly see D2C guys already moving into, once they've established their brand, moving into the offline store and building out their presence offline. As well, and in order to do that, they really need to look at a capability set of figuring out what the catchments are, where the traffic is, what kind of people they are really catering to, and then setting up stores and identifying those locations and setting up stores there. That is a critical capability that D2C actually misses out and needs to look at. And similarly, what we're seeing is from the traditional partners, a lot of traditional partners now are looking to open up their own, not just their own website, but their marketplace presence to cater to and actually restrict the loss of sales from their loyal customers. With this, let me actually invite Harsh. Harsh, would you want to take over this place?
So as brands start going across channels, the brand's own positioning and experience that they give customers become critical as they look at not just what is happening in their stores, not just what is happening on marketplaces, but also what's happening on their own websites. I think we've seen brands invest tremendously on creating user journeys as well as identities of their own brands on channels like mobile apps, websites. Not all brands have their own mobile apps, which we saw in the data as well, which is not always the right thing to do unless you have a very high frequency use case. But even for the ones that have their own websites, you've got to understand that it is not just a catalog that you're showing there. You're not doing that purely from a reach perspective, but how can you extend your experience to the customer wherever they are? We're seeing table stakes of recommendation engines, personalization, digitization of inventory with what's happening in the store as well as what's happening online, parity across pricing, across multiple channels except maybe marketplaces. You're seeing a lot of brands invest in AR and VR. You've got the likes of a Vision Express and Lenskart doing virtual try-ons. You've got the same ones in BPC category. You've got Nykaa, but you've also got Tira, who is now putting in virtual try-ons in their own applications. You've got augmented reality done by a lot of furniture brands. You've got IKEA, which is probably the gold standard when it comes to using augmented reality for their digital channel as well. And while a lot of this can today look at, it's expensive to do these things, you've got to invest so much money in catalog creation in order for that catalog to be ready for an augmented engagement, it's becoming table stakes for some of these categories that we're seeing. What you've got to understand as a brand is for you to do this effectively, you've got to invest in creating enablers within the organization which can underpin all of these experiences that you want to give to the customers. We spend a lot of time understanding technology and how and what you need to invest in from a systems perspective. Sometimes it could be as simple as just getting your existing systems in line, right? So you can just put these ducks in a line and align all of them to work together towards creating that experience. Technology is one case. How do you look at it from a store operations perspective? And a lot of the omni-channel journey is actually breaking today at the last mile, which is your store. What now is required from the store associates who were today doing a set of tasks that were defined for a customer walking into the store, but now you've got a new set of tasks that you're expecting them to do for orders that are now coming to the store as well. Okay, thank you so much for that. How do you start identifying what those skill sets are required for the store associates? And with the churn that we see at the store level, how do you keep retraining those associates in order to work on an omni-channel initiative? We saw respondents talk about aligning incentives. So do you now even incentivize them for the orders that are coming in from online channels just because they're doing the effort of fulfilling them or no? And a lot of this is also where a brand wants to be. As Kushal mentioned, a lot of this is over-reported. But the good thing is that the intent is there to actually align a lot of the organization drivers to what is actually needed in order to create an omni-channel experience. Right? You see this not just within operations and technology, but also in marketing. Right? How do you drive re-engagement and retargeting across multiple channels? Can you create a unified customer view? I know marketplaces don't allow you to do that, but between your own online channels and your offline channels, do you even have the same loyalty program working on both those aspects there? Can you retarget the customer online for when, or basis what they've bought offline as well? So to look at some of these journeys becomes important even on the marketing side of it. And from the C-suite, how do you create these organization structures that can actually play for not what the brand is today, but for what the brand will be 10 years down the line? You've got a bunch of this information in the report. How do other ecosystem players play well together? It is, please download the report, scan that QR code. There's a bunch of reports available out here that you can get your hands on. And feel free to reach out to the images team, the strategy and team, as well as the Fynd team for any more of those things. Thank you so much for your attention, and look forward to interacting with you over the next couple of days. Thank you.
Well, we heard about the report. Now let's actually launch it. And to help Kushal and Harsh, I'd like to call on stage Manoj Patel in the house of Anita Dongre, Vikram Idnani, the Landmark Group, Subhash Chandra, Sangeeta Mobiles, Kumar Velu, Natural Salon, Sangeeta Pendrikar, CEO Pantaloons and Style Up, and Shaurya Samani, CEO Retail Tech at the Images Group.